You are listening to the Unguarded podcast, where we talk about relationships and how to live unguarded life. And we are your hosts. I'm Beck, and this is my husband.
I'm Joe, and so good to be here again.
So good.
Another week, right? We did something we've never done before recently.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't believe it was only a couple of days ago.
That's true. It seems like it was months ago. It took so much of our lives, but we did our first live episode of Unguarded.
Here at Mosaic.
Yep, here at Mosaic, and had a couple hundred people here and did a Q&A and talked about some things, and yeah, it was like really special.
It was so much fun. And what blew me away is the Q&As. I was like so surprised at how personal, vulnerable. If you haven't listened to the episode, go and listen to it, because I just loved the questions. And we could have really done the questions for another half an hour or hour, you know?
Yep. So much, you know, and so if you haven't watched or listened to that episode, go and check it out. Go and comment, subscribe to the pod, share it with friends, do all the things. Just helps us get this pod and this message in as many hearts and ears as possible.
Yeah.
So that mean the world to us to have your support in that way. And then, you know, we working on some merch ideas.
We are indeed.
Right? And little hush project.
Yeah. It's in the works.
In the works, and checking out samples and looking at different, you know, designs. So
vintage hats.
You know, so yeah, but hats, maybe a sweater, hoodie.
If anyone's out there that has any connections to making great hats, please let us know.
Right. Speaking of great hats, Fear of God, shout out. Still one of my favorite hats.
Yes.
The Seattle Mariner colorway.
It's a beautiful hat.
It is a beautiful hat. But yeah, it is just a fun and exciting time with all the Unguarded things. And so we kept getting a lot of people commenting saying, please do this more often, you know?
Yeah,
so
the live
if you would like another live episode, again, let us know. Put it in the comments, you know.
If you scream it loud, we'll do it.
For sure, you know. Maybe do a little city-wide tour, different places.
That would be cool.
But yeah, we're very excited. And yeah, it was such a gift to just be with a bunch of people that we love and are fans of the pod and that are just sharing how much it's impacted them. Because that's the goal. That's why we started this thing. And so yeah, we're just grateful for all the Unguarded fam across the world. So yeah, we had a crazy few weeks, right, in our household.
It's been an insane month.
Yes.
Since the beginning of February.
Should we just talk about that? Just what to do in the midst of insanity?
Yeah.
And then, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, I think it's interesting because it has been insane, but it has also been like really exciting because we've had so many opportunities to talk about relationships, which is what we love to do. Mm-hmm. And I love that you ended the live podcast recording and you said like, we don't necessarily, because it was a lot about dating, and we're not forcing you to date. You don't have to date, but we do want you to have amazing relationships. We want you to win. And this is why we do this podcast, is to go deep into, you know, the topics that we're curious about, or that we've fought through, or we're fighting through, so that it can open a conversation with your spouse. Like I had a conversation with a friend today, and she has never listened to the podcast, but she like knows about it.
It's a great friend right there.
Yeah.
Right or die.
She's a new friend.
Okay,
so I'll give
I
her.
Definitely don't go have coffee or lunch with
No,
anybody.
it wasn't the coffee.
I was going to make a joke. I was going to say I don't do coffee or lunch with anybody who doesn't listen to the pod. So if you want to hang out, I need to see your watch list.
Yeah.
Where's Unguarded in your Spotify?
I mean, I did have coffee with someone, and she does listen to the podcast. So
okay, it's balanced.
She's really sweet. That was very cute. But the other friend is a new friend, and she's like, yeah, we need relationship help. Like, I want my boyfriend to listen. She didn't even know anything about the podcast, but she knew it was about relationships.
She knew that he needed help.
Yeah. And she's like, I need my boyfriend. I was like, exactly. This is why we do it. So you listen to it, he listens to it, and then it opens up the conversation that you might not be able to have alone. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's just the conversation starter. And I love that we can hopefully help relationships get better and get stronger.
Yep.
And then yeah, so this month was crazy because we did so much about relationships, but that was the cool part. Was we're doing a lot. We're doing relationship class on Wednesday nights.
Yep.
We were speaking together about love.
Yep.
And then recording the podcast, and then recording the first live podcast this month. Like, it's been insane. And like creating for the merch. But
Yep.
what a great life.
What a great life.
Even though we're
Absolutely.
tired and probably need to sleep more. Like, this is, I was
Who
thinking
needs to
about
sleep
it
more?
today. I was like, oh my gosh, I am living out the life that I love. Like, I feel like if I'm hitting my sweet spot.
Why is chaos and crazy the sweet spot?
I mean, I don't know that. I think, shoot, someone was asking me about, like the numbers. What's the numbers? The 2s, the 8s.
Oh, Enneagram.
Enneagram. That 2s, which I'm a 2, which is a helper, which I love to help people or serve people. Is that what it is? Anyway, it's
I don't know
roughly
much
that.
about it. Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, oh, it's so annoying. I'd rather be an 8 because I have a lot of 8s in my life and I really admire them. But then I just found out recently that a 2, when they're the most healthiest, they're most creative.
Where are we going with this?
I'm just saying that I'm in my sweet spot. That reminded me. I was like,
okay. Gotcha.
it's like, you can feel stressed and chaotic, but if you really take a step back and you see your life, are you doing the things that you love? 1,000%. I'm doing the things that I love. Maybe I should get a job, but
Get paid for the things you love?
Yeah, get paid for the things that I love. That's in the works. But I am very passionate about everything that I'm doing. We get to be creative, clothing-wise. I get to do Friends of vintage clothing-wise, although I have to like boot that back up again. And we get to talk about love, which is one of our like thing that we care about the most. And I love that we both care about it.
Yep. I mean, we care about it so much, we started a podcast about it. So
That's true. So what do you think about this month? How do you feel? Oh, and Calabasas.
And Calabasas, right. Shout out Mosaic Calabasas. We officially launched, not launched, but we announced the launch of it.
Yeah.
On all socials. And that alone as well. Is about to get crazy and excited. It's already been crazy, but now it's, full force ahead. So March 16th, we're having our first launch gathering out there with Mosaic.
So if you're out there, you live out that way.
Yes. If you live out in Calabasas, Thousand Oaks, Woodland Hills, Encino, all the hills, Agora Hills, we'd love to have you be a part of that. Yeah, we're just bringing Mosaic and the things that's been such a gift to us out that way. And we've got so many people who say, love Mosaic, but it's just too far in Hollywood or South Pass. And if you ever did anything near me, I'm there and I'll bring friends. And so that's been cool, just as people have been reaching out and saying, I'm coming on March 16th and bringing friends. But all that to say, there's a lot going on, but we do thrive in crisis, I feel like, in busy. So even at my message on Sunday, one aspect of it I talked about was like embracing hard work.
Yeah.
Like embracing
it was a great talk. I cried through that talk.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was so hard. I made you cry. Yeah.
It was so beautiful.
But just that. And there was one part where I was talking about that, this kind of laying out how crazy this month has been and all the different things and all the different responsibilities. But at the same time going, oh my goodness, what this month did, and I loved all the work. I loved all the difficulty and the challenges. I love the excess because it forced me to be a better man. Yeah. Forced me to be a better husband, better father, better leader, better friend, better t-ball coach, Yeah. All those things. And because that's what elevated responsibility does. That's what taking on new things does. That's what when you disrupt your normal and you like elevate, it forces you to be on the other side of the challenge.
Yeah, like when you take on more challenge, take on more things,
Yep.
then you elevate.
You have to. You either
Yeah.
elevate or you stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stay the same, the people who suffer are the people all around you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we've committed to in our lives, that our lives don't belong simply to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like our family needs us, our kids need us, our community needs us, but also we believe the world needs us to be at our best.
Mm-hmm.
And so either the elevated responsibility overwhelms you and paralyzes you and causes you to be less, or you figure it out.
Yeah.
And as you know, we talked about on Sunday, it's like you go harder.
Yeah.
You do more. So that part's been fun. Just like, developing new muscles and stretching new muscles and all that.
And do you feel like that you've got like a new purpose, a new goal that you're driven towards?
Yeah. And in so many areas, right? Because, as simplistic as coaching Indy's Little League team.
Yeah.
And I've never done it before. And I'm like stressing every week. Sometimes stressing more about baseball practice than I am my message on Sunday, because I want these kids I don't want to just have practice. I don't want them just to, oh, cool, we did, some practices and some games and cool.
You threw a ball.
We got exercise.
Yeah.
But I actually want them to connect to each other.
Yeah.
I want the practice to have movement and intention, and the mystery of, why did I love that practice so much? Or why was being on the Black Panthers the best team experience I've ever had?
Yeah.
And then anything that goes deeper than just, oh yeah, we learned how to throw and catch and hit a ball. I'm trying to connect them to each other. I'm trying to connect them to excellence. I'm trying to connect them to improvement. So like I'm like spending, it's like late at night and I can't go to sleep because I'm looking at YouTube videos about practice sessions, and I'm texting friends who are in the baseball world. And then on Sunday we met a brand new couple.
Yeah.
And just
Will.
Yeah, Will, and what's his girlfriend's name?
Oh, that's can't remember.
Dang,
but I remember his name because it's my brother's name.
That's right. Yeah. And Will
they're so cool.
Like played college baseball, and he was like, anything you need, was down to help. So even that, now I'm resourcing Will. Hopefully he's going to come to our practice next week, and I
love that, because what a great gift it is to these 8-year-olds.
For sure.
Like they're getting a pro college baseball player. Like that's pretty amazing.
I mean, they're getting a pro, practice session with Coach Joe too.
Yeah.
But Will brings another dynamic.
Like another level.
But so like that has been, I'm having to learn a new muscle, right? And then we're talking about, launching Mosaic Calabasas, and we've been a part of startups before with Mosaic and church plants and new locations, and it's always exciting, but this is the first time in a while that we've gone and just planted and been at the ground and building a launch team and recruiting and dreaming and praying and all that freshness and just so inspired as we're like launching Mosaic New York City, launching Mosaic London, like a rebirth in Mexico. It's just you get so pulled in to the beauty. That's what makes Mosaic so unique. Is having 30 years of legacy, but always reaching and extending. Where's the next place that we need to go? Like, how do we need to pioneer and do things that have never been done in that space? And then what does that look like in our own lives as well?
Well, I just think it's interesting because the one thing that hit me while you were talking was you said, like, if we love it so much that we want to take it to them, to the people that may not make the drive to Hollywood. And like, I'm super excited about what could be, what's going to be in Calabasas, but I'm also sad because I feel like I'm giving up something that I love in Hollywood. Yeah. But as you're talking, I'm like, oh, that's like, I feel convicted. Like, if you've loved something so much, wouldn't you want other people to experience it? Or would you just want to keep it to yourself? Yep. And so that's why we're putting everything on the line for it. We're literally saying, okay, us, you and me, our kids, and then whoever wants to join us
Sure. Yeah.
are like going to a place we've never been before. We don't know what it looks like, but we know that the people that we're going to meet are worth it.
Mm.
And so we're uprooting our lives to move to Calabasas.
Yep.
Because we want to be part of the community. We want to live there, know the people, serve the people. And so, yeah, it's exciting, but also like just a little hard, like to say goodbye, even though we're always going to be part of it. But it's just,
Yeah, it's always.
you just seem to be like, let's go. You're not,
Yeah.
you don't have any sense of sadness. I guess maybe that overrides the sadness. I don't know. Or you just love change.
I do love change.
Because I like
do
change,
yeah.
but when it has to have some parameters, and I feel like
You love
you
change,
just love
but
change.
you love to dictate the change.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I love new things. I love, trying, experimenting. I love risking. Yeah, because I also think that's a part of circling back, right, to, okay, what does this have to do with relationships, or what's the texture, the DNA? You have to figure out ways to make your relationship feel fresh.
That's good.
You got to invest in the new. If you're doing the same thing all the time, if you're, you always go to the same restaurants and you're always waking up at the same time, you're always on the same schedule, as we all know, the longer you get in those patterns, the more monotonous things can feel, right? The more common, right? And so, yeah, I try to be in tune with some of that, and you know me, right? Obviously, you know me for over a decade, and that I love to just kind of like snow globe, shake things up a little bit,
Yeah.
and right or no?
Yeah, no, that's true. No, that's true.
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, like, you mentioned how you felt like God was moving us in a certain direction.
Moving us in a certain direction.
You said to me, like, oh, I don't want to tell you what it is. And I don't know why I'm asking you in this very moment.
Here on Unguarded.
Yeah, but do you think this is is this what he was talking to you about?
I think this is one of a few things he was talking to me about. Yeah. Or just peeling back the curtain on Unguarded.
Yeah, I just haven't thought about asking you this question until
Sure.
this very moment. So here we go.
I think it's I feel like one of my gifts. I don't know. We talk a lot about that. One of my contributions to the world. One of the things that I love to do is helping see the connections in everything.
Yeah.
Helping find the story, find the fingerprints of God. I absolutely love. One of my favorite things is helping friends, helping people identify, the mystery of faith, the mystery of how all this works. Why does it seem like God's speaking so much more loudly in this area?
Yeah.
So I love that, and trying to be in tune in those moments. And sometimes it feels like it's like there's a dance and like a resonance in the frequency, and like we just watched Free Willy with the kids, and I'm like crying. I haven't seen the movie in years, but just watching this the irony of for whales, right, communicating with each other through sonar, and being on the same page in the frequency, and this whale is stuck in this aquarium, and he's trying to communicate to his family that's literally just like hundreds of yards away.
Yeah.
The ocean is right there, and he's wailing, and they're connecting, communicating, but he's stuck in this aquarium. And how often we just are that close to breakthrough, that close to connection, that close, but when you are living confined, and you're not risking, you're not living in the open waters and the open seas and what could happen, you're like Free Willy stuck in the tank, wondering why he can't connect beyond this moment.
Wow.
And I'm both terrified of the open waters and invigorated by it, and so it's like I wonder how many times we miss out on the deep connections and the expected because we don't have the eyes to see. We don't have the resonance because we're afraid of the change.
Yes.
And so we choose the safety of the aquarium.
Yes. Okay, so I was talking to a friend, and she was saying in her relationship that her partner was like going through breakthroughs and really like trying really hard to like work on himself to discover, okay, is there more to life, or is there more to like our relationship? Can I grow as a person? And he is going through so many different changes, and he has a conversation with a mentor, and the mentor like challenges him, and he suddenly is like, oh my gosh, that's a great point. I've always like had a thought that like ambition could look like greed, and I never want to be greedy, so then I've never been ambitious.
Ambition can look like greed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and in his mind, he was like, consumerism culture or capitalism is like take, supposedly.
Okay, so that tells me they don't live in America, but
Yeah.
keep going. Yep.
But then or the perception of it could be like, actually, is that ambition that you're trying to make the world better, so you're trying to like create opportunities. So it's like opportunities just, well, not even opportunities are coming to you, you're just like choosing what's happening in front of you, or you're creating opportunities. And I think like there's a bit of both. Like an opportunity could come your way, but you have to kind of go for it, and you create your opportunity to what that next, the next step of your life is. But I was thinking how, what risk looks like when you get a new revelation, hey, maybe you're stagnant, or maybe you're holding back. Like, it was an interesting word that he said was, like, I don't think that's true, but then at the same time, I think maybe you have a point. Like, there's something inside my soul that feels like that could be true, but in my mind, that is not true. Like a new truth you're giving me, new feedback you're giving me, I feel like I have to like wrestle with that thought.
Yeah.
And I think I'm kind of going all over the place, but I think it's just interesting that it actually takes a lot to change and to go for a risk.
Even that alone.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to change.
Yeah.
For sure. Point blank, period.
Yeah.
Stop, clip it.
Yeah.
Put it on a billboard, put it on a t-shirt. It takes a lot to change.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't want to change.
Yeah.
They don't like to change, because change requires disruption.
Yes.
And it's like, but the irony is change is just a natural byproduct of life.
Yeah.
It just is. But the irony is, so many of us don't like change, but if you don't change, you're going to be the only constant in the situation that remains the same.
Yeah.
The world around us changes, right? Seasons. We live in LA, so we don't have them, but other parts of the world, there's a natural rhythm where you go from one thing to the next and figuring out who you need to be. Your core stays the same, but how do you become the person you need to be for that season?
Okay, so have you felt stagnant?
Absolutely.
Recently?
Sure, yeah.
No, I'm not saying sure. I need you to go there and say.
I just said absolutely.
Yeah, but go there. Like, when is the moment where you're like, okay, I felt stagnant? Because I think that our life right now, which just feels like in the balance of we don't know what's going to happen in a month's time, is exciting to you. I love that. And it's exciting to me in some respect.
What do you mean we don't know what's going to happen?
Like, we don't know where we're going to live. Like, so much
gotcha.
is unknown.
Yes.
But I don't know. Like, do you feel like, okay, what I'm trying to say is like, you can change, if you change things on the outside, it helps change something on the inside.
Maybe I would say the opposite.
When you change on the inside, then you.
Yeah, is that if things change on the outside, but you don't change on the inside, it's completely irrelevant. And I think that's actually maybe where we get sideways. So that's when we get stagnant, is when the only change is happening externally.
Okay, so what's the change that's happening internally for
Uh,
you?
I mean, well, in general, I would say, like with our house, not knowing where we're going to live.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part that terrifies me. There's a
Yeah.
part of like, oh shoot, what do? We put in notice, and then we have no place to go. Are we going to be, are we going to be six of us couch surfing? Does anybody have 6 couches in their house? But when I look at my life, all the moments that I could point to that I felt fully alive and vibrant, when I was full of joy, were moments when God showed up in unexpected ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are moments I live for. Those are
Yeah.
the moments that fuel me moving forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, like a life verse for me is that changed me and transformed me. That was my change moment
Yeah.
in my faith, was when I read Psalm 34:8 that says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." And when I read those verses, I felt like God was knocking at the door of my heart saying, I dare you to give me a shot. Like, see the unexpected, prepare for the unexpected, get your soul ready to see things that you've never seen before.
That's cool.
And I think because it was such a pivotal moment, at a foundational moment in my life and spiritual life specifically, it's been a constant theme of like what gets me out of feeling stagnant, what gets me out of the mundane or the common or the ruts, are getting back to that. When's the last time I tasted and saw the goodness of God all around me? This podcast was a taste and see that the Lord is good.
Yeah.
Right? It was an idea, it was a thought. And then it was also a resisted thought going, does the world need another podcast? And maybe it doesn't. But did I need to do this podcast? Yes.
Did we?
Yes. I know.
No. I think that's no. I wasn't even throwing shade. I'm just like, no. Did we need to do this because there's something that's a gift to do something together?
Yeah. 100%. It's one of my favorite things every single week is that we get to have this conversation. We take all the fights that happen before the pod and all the frustration and all the disconnects, and then find a resonance, because that's the beauty of when you're changing and when you're stepping into the new and when you're taking risk in the midst of uncertainty. Is I think one thing that emboldens us more is when you realize, I'm not doing this alone. Yeah. And then you get more courage. Like one thing David Arcos has been, who's a friend of ours and on staff at Mosaic, has been like harping on with, he's doing a lot of stuff with guys, is this phrase, "we is better than me." As simple as it is. And he just keeps going, and he's talking to all these guys that we is better than me. They were stronger when we're together.
Yes.
And I felt the same with us. We're stronger when we're together.
We are. We're a better team.
Yes. 100%.
It's just interesting, like, that we get better because we do this podcast. Partly I'm thinking is because we put time aside to actually talk about things that matter.
Yeah.
But also, could it be that we are constantly driving ourselves to see what's the new thing and how we can serve humanity better?
Yeah.
Like I was listening to the Mind Shift podcast with Erwin and Brandon, and it was so good. And then Erwin spoke about how, he didn't really think about life as like, oh, I want to be successful. He just said, I just want to serve the world. Like I want to make humanity better, and I want to have the greatest impact on humanity. And I love that because there's a goal, there's a vision ahead of why you do the things you do, why you work so hard. And I just feel like that helps us. I know. That helps. I know there's time.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, but you're uncomfortable in your chair. So that when you have a common goal and a vision, then it helps you stay focused. It helps you become a team. It helps you like not go sideways in your relationship where you get off the kilter because you're fighting or you know, like it's the time spent, right? But also it's the fact that we keep going back to, well, we're doing this together, and so we need each other. So there's not much point spending a lot of time getting mad, but there's more time spent on forgiving each other and moving forward. Because sometimes like when I get frustrated, there's lots of reasons why I get frustrated, like today. Because
you want to list them off?
Because I'm tired. It's like, oh, I'm emotionally tired, I'm physically tired, and I'm not my best self. So things that you're doing, being your challenger self, is not, I'm not in this space to like hear it right now.
Can I propose a potential thought? As you were talking and thinking through, you know, obviously there's things that I do that frustrates you. That
I'm sure there's things I do to frustrate you.
I'll try to get better at. But even just that had an interesting thought of like, does our tired self, can our tired self be our best self? Is that possible?
Yes.
It is. Okay. I'm just proposing or thinking through thoughts, just because I'm wondering too, like, is that an aspect in relationships where, you know, that gives you the momentum and the fuel to push past the challenges and the hardships and the exhaustion, is that you've done something, whether it's invest in each other when no one's looking, the text, the frameworks, the foundation, whatever the things are, but those are the things that actually help your best self emerge in the midst of the tired.
Well, can I point something out? Like, there's
please.
a couple of things that come to mind. One, that one time when I went through a really hard transition with work, and I just didn't want to do something, and I texted you, I was like, I don't want to lead this meeting because I'm just emotionally guarded or whatever. Like, and you said, leaders aren't defined in the good times, they're defined in the hard times. So you choose if you want to push through this and actually just lead because it's who you are. And I remember leading through that time, and it was one of the best. And of course, God spoke to me so much through it because I was being vulnerable because I was pushing through something that I didn't necessarily want to do. But I think sometimes, like when I say I get tired, but we may not have, like we're going on full 100%. We may be missing each other just like ever so slightly. And I feel that disconnect, like, hang on a minute, like I know you're not at your best. So it's just tricky. I think it's like, we can push through and then find our best, right? Through pushing and digging deeper. And I love that. That's the challenger in you. But then there's also the moment where like, hey, can we reconnect? Because we could be drifting slightly and we need to like, I'm not hearing, like the frequency is different when we're not at our best. So we have to like, okay, let's get our frequency right so that when you hear my voice, you hear that I'm for you.
When do you feel like we're at our best?
I mean, I think we are. That's what I'm saying. Like I started the podcast from saying, like, I feel like I'm in my sweet spot, we're in our sweet spot, but we are both doing 100 things. Like we're going fast at this point. So yes, overall, I think you're at your sweet spot and you're in your best. But I'm just saying, in the in-between moments when we're tired, we can mishear each other.
For sure. I'm not, if you think I'm fighting with you or arguing with you, I'm not. I'm just trying to even get language or even anything helping people find their best. Like what's like the chemistry, right? What are the dynamics that help people be able to know, oh, this is what we bring to the table?
Well, I think maybe the couple things that come to mind is like that that there are things that we do together that we're fighting for, but then there's also things that you let me do, and we don't have to do everything together.
Sure. Yeah.
Like with merch, you're like, yeah, you take it. Obviously, you can consult and I can ask you for your opinion. But I like that you don't have to be a part of every little detail when it comes to it. So I think having space.
That's just a little seed that was planted. That if you like the merch, Beck's like, hey, I just that was me.
No, it's not just me. It was a collab. There'll be collabs for sure, but people behind the scenes. But I think that could be the thing. Like you have your time where you're doing things together, and you have a vision for your relationship, you have your vision for your family, and you're on mission. But you also have time where you're pushing yourself individually to be more, allowing, like I think I'm pushing myself because you're an incredible communicator. So communicating with you.
Could clip that and
rewind that.
Yeah. I heard that in a resonance and a frequency, that.
Yeah, you should take that compliment because you are brilliant.
I appreciate that. Yes.
And so I've for years of like, oh, how do I become like you? But I'm trying to learn of how do I become like me?
Yeah.
But be my most powerful self and not hesitate, not doubt. And because of this month, because we've had so many reps, it's like I was like, here, I'm giving you an opportunity to go for it and to do it again and again and again and again. And every time you have to like, you're learning the skill set that you asked me that you wanted to learn. And it's like pushed and it's condensed and it's like hard, but a good hard.
Yep. And then even the gaps get harder and harder as well, because the more you do something and the expectation changes, and and I feel like the same should be true in relationships, that the longer you're with someone, you should be able to gauge the depth of that relationship that's been forged and developed over time. That the intimacy that somebody has at 14 years should be far less than the intimacy that they have at 4 years.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's been a cool dynamic, I feel like, with us. And I feel like that's one of the reasons we have the pod and are just trying to share our experience, share our story, share our struggles, share the frustrations, right? Share all the things, the good moments, the not so great moments, and even maybe we have a whole episode one time just about the things we wish we did differently, or the mistakes we made along the way and the things we learned on the other side of them. Just because I feel like that is so much of what's forged our relationship.
That's true.
And that hopefully we're going to make a ton more mistakes. I'm going to frustrate you even more in the future. But I think the power of what we get to create together is that we have a deep commitment to not just our relationship, but the story that our relationship tells.
It's good.
And the legacy that it leaves. And so sometimes you just need somebody to model it, and hopefully every episode a little bit more, we get a little bit more unguarded.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe as you're listening, that's you. And that's the conversation you get to have with your partner. How can I be a little bit more unguarded? How can I be a little bit more open? How can I be a little bit more honest? And it's in like that expansion of opening up our guard is maybe that's where the true secret sauce of a relationship is found. Because we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be human.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we have for tonight now.
Yep, that's all we got.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode. And like you said, share with friends. And we'll see you next week for the next episode.
We love you, Unguarded. We'll see you soon.
Bye.